Chaos was everywhere, the scene completely in disarray. People were running for their lives. Amid the panic, Gali realized this wasn't just about missiles. She could hear it now. Gunfire. They were shooting at people. The ground shook beneath her. Bullets whistled past her ear. They were under attack from every direction. There was no way out. Desperately, Gali searched for somewhere to hide. But deep down she knew they would find her. They would find all of them. And then she saw it. A row of portable toilets. Maybe, just maybe, that would be their only chance. At 8:20 in the morning, the massacre at the party began. The silence inside the toilet stall was shattered by the terrifying sounds of gunfire. In a moment, everything changed. The sound deafening, horrific. Gali and her friend Amit, two best friends from the north, were huddled together in that tiny stall. They clung to the hope that it might offer them a shred of safety. "Hide, so they won't see you," Amit whispered, her voice trembling. A young man, Barak, had joined them just moments earlier. The three of them didn't yet realize this decision, this desperate decision to hide there, would save their lives. They sat on the cold floor, praying without end. But then they heard it, shouting in Arabic. A large group of terrorists had barricaded themselves just behind the stalls. From there, they were engaged in a battle. So close. The shadows of the terrorists passed under the door. Gali, Amit, and Barak could only stay still, frozen in fear. Moments before they had entered the stall, Amit, just 23, had called her mother. "Hello? Amit?" her mother answered. "Mom, they're shooting at us," Amit said, her voice cracking. Galit, her mother, could hear it. The gunfire. It was as if it was happening right next to her daughter. Galit's heart pounded. She cried out to her husband, "Tamir! Tamir!" She was hysterical. In a desperate attempt for help, her husband suggested calling Shimon, a man they knew. He worked with the security forces. In her panic, Galit called Shimon immediately. "Shimon, please, my daughter is in the south. Save my girl, save my girl," she begged. Shimon didn't hesitate. "I'm on my way south. I'll bring your daughter home today." Shimon worked for a security company. He barely knew the family and had never met Amit. But something inside him pushed him to act. He raced south, not knowing what kind of nightmare awaited him. Meanwhile, back in the toilet stall, the gunfire raged on. Amit sent her mother Shimon's number. "Mom, who is Shimon? How can he help me?" she asked, confused. "Why me?" Shimon started messaging her. His words, offering her comfort. "I'm 2 kilometers away," he wrote. "Stay quiet. Don't breathe. Don't move. Lie flat. A stray bullet could hit you." The only thing separating them from the terrorists was a thin plastic door. Gali, Amit, and Barak could hear almost everything. They stayed perfectly still, exactly as Shimon instructed. Gali kept her head down. Barak lifted his feet, making sure no one could see them from below. Their muscles ached. Every move dangerous. The terrorists passed their stall over and over again. They heard them opening the stalls next to theirs. Gali, Amit, and Barak exchanged terrified looks. They prayed, hard, harder than ever before. Prayed that it wouldn't be their turn. That if the terrorists opened their stall, it would be over quickly. While they huddled, Shimon was driving south, confronting the gravity of the situation. He himself had encountered terrorists along the way. "Everyone is on the ground," he reported. "There are 4 more terrorists across from me. We're trying to neutralize them. I hope everything will be okay." Shimon kept asking the rescuers he encountered, "Is my daughter hiding in the toilets?" But the responses shook him. If she's in the toilets, they said, she has no chance. How? Shimon thought to himself. How could he promise her mother that he would bring her daughter back? With only hundreds of meters between them, Shimon could go no further. He sent messages to Amit and Gali, instructing them on what to do. But time was running out. And then, it happened. The voices changed. The terrorists spoke Hebrew, pretending to be soldiers, trying to deceive the civilians. Gali listened carefully. Everything went silent. Footsteps approached. Suddenly, a voice. "Is anyone here?" it called out. They didn't dare answer, didn't make a sound. Seconds passed. Then, "Allahu Akbar!" The terrorists sprayed the area with bullets. Gali, Amit, and Barak locked eyes. They knew. In an instant, it could have all been over. As the hours dragged on, their hope turned to despair. The security forces hadn't gained control yet. Rescue still felt so far away. Amit sent her mother a final, heartbreaking message. "Mom, I love you all so much." "Don't say that," her mother replied, desperate to hold on to hope. "Go to the synagogue. Pray. Everything will be fine. Don't worry." But Amit thought of her younger sister. She had promised to protect her, to always be there for her. "I have to survive," Amit thought. "For her. I have to keep my promise." After 8.5 hours crouched in the cramped, suffocating stall, border police forces finally arrived. They cleared the area of terrorists. The sound of gunfire died down. Arabic turned to Hebrew. The door to the stall opened. Guns aimed at them. The soldiers inspected Barak's bag, realized they were survivors. "Call your mother," one of the soldiers told Gali. "She needs to know you're alive." Gali felt it, like the gates of heaven had opened. Her mother had promised to find her. And now, that promise was fulfilled. The border police escorted them out, telling them not to look at the horrors outside. But they couldn't help it. Bodies lay under cars. Gali realized almost no one from the party had survived, except them. They had come to the most beautiful party they had ever seen. But when they stepped outside, it was all blood. The silence of death. Blood and smoke, but they were alive. A car pulled up. Amit, are you in the car?" Gali called out. "Yes, Shimon. It's me. I'm here." Without hesitation, Gali hugged Shimon, the man who had risked everything for them. As they drove away, she called Galit. "Galit," she said, "I promised you, and I kept my promise. Your daughter is on her way home." That evening, Gali and Amit returned home. It was a moment that so few parents got to experience, and all because of Shimon, the man who barely knew them, but entered the hellish nightmare to make sure they survived. Shimon, forever Shimon, Gali thought, overwhelmed with gratitude. "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have survived. You're our lifeline. Thank you for keeping your promise." Gali and Amit's story was one of those who came to celebrate life, only to be forced to face death. The terror they had endured during those hours would take a long time to process. And the friends they had lost, they would never forget. Hundreds of partygoers didn't make it home to hug their families. But Gali and Amit knew in their memory they would go on. They would continue to spread joy and light. As Gali reflected on surviving, she realized one thing. It wasn't just about her own life anymore. She had to celebrate. For them. She had to carry on. For those who couldn't. And this was their victory.